But I'm here today to succeed tremendously. I not only is environmental activism, but it is questions of social justice and combining media and social change. And that's what I'm working for. And my horse is beautiful wire, Sarah, as well as also friends. I know what to say. I heard the Council of Leadership Institute the introduction. We can't do this. First, I just want to say how we are all into these markets ceremony on behalf of the Stoic people. For Leadership Institute, my family has always believed that first here in congratulations to everybody. The Cronkite and I engaging where taking many time themselves and engaging in issues that themselves each and every day. And I feel like I've been for the whole 30 years. I got to know this kind of music of creation and truth. And the television way I can go like this. But we also know sports and activities just like my factor us to participate in these resources that I protected. So I do disable and succeed despite the diversity of their lives. But I really come to admire is some of these steps we need to be constantly in the work so Bob has seen tremendously, I think, not only in his environmental activism, but in his quest for social justice and combining media and social change. And that's what I admire him for. And of course, his beautiful wife, Sarah. So this is also one of my good friends. We know the Leadership Institute, the practice we can't do this for ourselves. I just feel like it's
And was his these high school amazing people led me to what they just gave me to sit and so lecture and taking I just wanted to speak on that I just encouraged one to go away to other things which was school and just encourage me so I just wanted to acknowledge that as a future that tremendous show which is something that everyone is versed in Cronkite which relates and so was also it's great
Keep this somewhat brief. I just wanted to say that
except to war on his behalf. So what we're going to do right now is a film that we've been working on is called It's going to be a feature-length documentary, and it actually started here on We're looking at some local issues, and just sort of starting to shoot out environmentalism. We were thinking, okay, let's start peeling away the layers of the onion, and as we start peeling away the layers of this very complex issue, which is our environment, and the layers sort of and life is journey around the world, actually, that we're still on meeting people and learning how people in different cultures are talking about the environment and the issues that we face. So the piece that we're showing now is just excerpts from that work in progress. And hope you enjoy it. That's how we change how we change bunch of ways that has a story of and full of understanding about it. I found this kind of thing and our education implications we have and when our sponsors this year and our organization and I just and then our kids so it's on there James history Lucy, she has a vision. So two people, Sharon Anderson, just felt like she was looking at her patient. This is her she's just helping out on something about and she's going to speech last 2 minutes. Isabel, and thanks for her mind. So we see here at the Martin Luther King Jr. High School. The Martin leadership is for 2 years. People just want to transfer in the 1970s. And they said students that were here reading sign up and she was the same mentality as the citizens who participated in her in 1970 introduction. And then there was Marianne Barnett year to there was around some of those artists shared with me because and see some of those artists in first session as they get to be treated. So I think to get to my mask saves the development of our members. So thank you all for the process that started with me. My teacher told a story about a guy who came to Josh and a sunset there. And I just was like, dark, depressed, and angry, emotional. But in the voice of the she called me and I just thought it was so I'm just on the same the guy right there is afraid our mountains back to Jerusalem. What I have done so this thing which is so that you can see the child as well as you are. This is a physical form of being represented in your way of life. The map is on the Torah. One of the sites is that teaching which is really important, willing to teach anyone. Students that participate in that are the same mentality as the citizens who participated in the site in 1970 open to the public. And in the years time, they dedicate themselves to saving the earth and shaping the valley. So we do this by learning about sustainable practices taking place on the island. Two such practices first, even the one with sustainable development, we only consume about 5% of the food around. It is cost saving for 60% national average. Just happens that the economic department has started country. Back into that, we get the chance to change our activities down to limit by supporting local 2030 using renewable energy. The map is a visual heritage and culture. We also stay responsibility on these islanders, but it's human. The map to save and protect our world. And this year, how they first
friend Teddy talked about Bob. I wasn't asked to do this, but I happen to have worked with Ken and Liz, and they're brilliant, gifted, and their hearts are in the right place, so I'm honored to be part of this event. So let's give them one more. Marianne Barnett is responsible for this whole thing. I don't know how you did this, but she did it, and she looks good in purple. So let's introduce Marianne Barnett, who is the head of the Stone Soup Leadership Institute. I didn't have like a list, but that was good. Okay.
So thank you all for joining us at the This is a beautiful day, and I feel so thrilled that Bob and Liz could both be in the same room at the same time. You know, getting on Bob's calendar is really something, and thank you, Sarah, for helping to make that possible. So this year, the theme is the environment, and we're really grateful for everyone's support for the young people here. We'll get to meet them. I wanted to also, thank Representative Madden for coming, and John Turwin for representing Nancy, Cronkite, and Buddy, and Teddy Kennedy Jr. I know your family has had a huge impact on my life, and your cousin Carolyn wrote a beautiful quote from my book. So I'm very grateful that you came. And we're here to honor a man, but honor a vision, honor a future. Mr. Cronkite could have been the first $1 million reporter. The honors of that went to Barbara Walters. But he wanted to spend the summers on Martha's Vineyard. So he made a choice in his life, and that's really what it's all about, is making choices about what it is that's important to us in our life. There's a video that we found, thanks to Jeffrey Kramer from CBS, called Can We Save the World by Mr. Cronkite. And we don't have internet access here, and there were so many firewalls that Child couldn't get it downloaded, nor could Ken, even though we tried. It'll be at the reception. But it was a simple question, can we save the world? And that was in 1970, and it helped launch the Earth Day movement. So here we are, how many years later? This was a question that was asked long before our young people were even a twinkle in their parents' eyes. So someone of Mr. Cronkite's caliber, he stuck his neck out a lot and used the power of the media to ask the tough questions. Most everyone on Martha's Vineyard has a story about Mr. Cronkite, and I get photos read about now from all kinds of people. The Capricorn House is one of our sponsors this year for our board members who came. And Deidre sends me a photo of Mr. Cronkite at the Ritz that I guess Nancy took her father to for Father's Day. And it's a great photo. I'll have to give you a copy of it. So I get these photos all the time, and I get these stories, and people always are telling me, about something that happened that touched their lives, whether on Martha's Vineyard or watching the television. For me, we were in the middle of a board meeting at our offices above the winter tide, and the phone rang. It was a Saturday afternoon, and it was Mr. Cronkite. And he said, Miss Larman, this is Walter Cronkite. And I was like, I said to my board, close the door. It's Walter Cronkite. They said, right. But I said, it is, please close the door. So he wanted me to come to New York. I said, I'll be in Hagertown in 2 minutes. I'd like Chip to be there. So I went to New York. And he wanted to make a television series on the book. So what you saw wasn't what I thought Shaw had been working on for the last 3 days. I thought it was our celebration of heroes that we had at the old Tabernacle in Oak Bluff. So this really took my breath away, Shaw, when I saw this. It's really beautiful. And I wanted to give credit to Len Morris, who was the executive producer with me on that video, who won the Walter Cronkite Award in 2011. And he and George, as you know, are carrying on another legacy in terms of helping children in the world. there's many people here today that have helped build this organization that, is here to help the children now. When I came, I went to walk on the beach. My 19-year-old brother was killed in a car accident, and I just didn't know quite what was next. I, had a great life, and I found this magic stone where Eleanor Roosevelt used to walk, and then I found Nancy, and I went to the writer's workshop in Chilmark, and I just started to write. So Nancy really, it's a great honor to have her here today, because she knows from the very beginning that we never had this whole plan at all. Thanks to Bob Forrester, who's now the CEO of Newman's Own, he said if we wanted to include Paul Newman, that we should create a nonprofit. I never did that. Okay, so that's just how it unfolded. Somebody had a good idea, and we just kept moving forward. The Nixons, Sarah and Bob, God bless them, we had been doing a youth summit in different islands and bringing island youth together because they're on the front line of climate change. And sent them a letter, a call. We read about Jack and Jack's inspiration for the America Saltwater's Hero. And we asked them, would they mind hosting us for a week-long youth summit? And they said yes, at the Menemsha Inn. When you have a summit, you want to get away from the world and have an opportunity to reflect on life. Well, the Nixons gave us that, so it was really quite a beginning. And then Julie Flanders did the next year. So now we have a beautiful place on Lake Tasman where we're doing that. It's owned by some Wampanoag, so we're really proud to be there. Buddy has been part of our Sustainable Vineyard Tour. Every summit, the first day, we take the kids out around the island, on the water and on the land, and Buddy takes a group of people out on Menemsha Bay and talks about the island from the perspective of protecting the oceans and protecting in the lands. Liz and Ken were Chavonet's mentor for our Job Shadow Day. And when Shav won the award last year, Walter Cronkite Award, we didn't have a youth because she's still with us. But thanks to Liz and Ken, she's been motivated and inspired to change her major from being a pediatrician to becoming a communications director, videographer. She has all kinds of ideas and travels, and the world is her oyster now. She's going to Suffolk University in, 3 weeks, I think? So it's a family, and the Conways last year hosted us at their home, and they introduced us to their Edgartown friends, and we see several of them here today. And that's what it takes, everyone pitching in. We have one of our youth leaders, many of our youth leaders who are going off to college, one of whom unfortunately couldn't be here, and her mom helped to make the reception happen. And she gave me a really big gift. Mr. Cronkite, of course, was a sailor, so she has a sailboat. So I was able to be on her sailboat and think about Walter Cronkite. And I thought about how being a sailor, you have to really be thinking about a small footprint, carry on, carry out. The boat turns, you get, oh my God, the sunsets and the sunrises, that time was just unbelievable. And it gives you just such a great respect for this beautiful island and what we have here. I wanted to also just thank the Harborview Hotel and the new owners for the reception that is immediately following this. The Chilmark Tavern for hosting a pre-event dinner so we could all talk. And if you can believe it, Liz and Ken and Bob and Sarah hadn't ever met before, even though they live almost walking distance from each other. So that was a great opportunity. The Nopi Center for Literary Arts, the Capricorn House, the House in New Lane, Union Harbor Motel, Budget Car Rental is always there for us, L'Etoile, Lucky Hank, 7A, Alley's, Chilmark Chocolates, Your Market, Jardins, Mahoney's is the best flowers they've done this year. Bunch of Grapes gives us these beautiful books, Allison Shaw for the photo on the front, and Peter Simon for the poster in front. And our Education Invitation Committee, Geraldine Brooks, Becca Aldery, Rebecca Conroy, Kim Conway, and Julie Flanders. And then our team, Nicole Garrity, Emily Nuss, James Hester, or Chardonnay. When David McCullough was here, the first award, he talked about Mr. Cronkite being a sailor and an anchor, metaphorically, for television, for his boat, and for our world. And he talked about, people's sailing stories. In the video that I thought we were going to see, which was the memorial of Mr. Cronkite at Lincoln Center, President Clinton talked about going sailing with Walter Cronkite, and it made history, made the newspapers anyway. It was quite a moment. The question of can we save the earth is similar to the questions that we ask at the Youth Leadership Summit. We ask our young people big questions because we believe that it's a good time to think about it when you're a teenager as you're formulating your thoughts about your future. What is your dream for your life, your island, and the world? And if you ask any one of them, they have something to say. For me, it's just the best part of what we do. They're so heartwarming and honest, and they really believe. They really believe it's possible to make these happen. And then all of you pitch in, and we start to figure this out. We don't have all the answers, but we try. For 7 generations, that's what we talk about. And, as Buddy, as Wampanoag talks about, we can, more than 7. He says we should think bigger than 7, so we do. This year we had 3 young people from the island of Lanai, Hawaii, who were sponsored by Alaska Airlines to come. Their island was just bought out by a billionaire, bought the whole island. But he wants to make it into a sustainable model. So we had 3 young people from Lanai come here to learn what's going on and to see what's happening on Martha's Vineyard because it's such a special place. So that was really kind of fun. And our young people are looking at their careers in the environment. They're also traveling. We have some real world travelers. Lucy just came back from Argentina. Bella's traveled all over the Caribbean. Isabella's in Uruguay. Savannah and Lily in Spain. Emma in Ireland. Megan in Australia. Nathaniel just came home 2 days ago from Ethiopia. And Anne from Ghana. I mean, it's really gives me a lot of hope because not only are they traveling, but their eyes are open and they're looking at how they can make a difference wherever they are. But they bring that joy back to them. I know Lucy and I spent a little time debriefing because it's hard to come back. 5 months in Argentina. She really felt pretty special. But for me, Mr. Cronkite would be very proud. Whenever I stood next to him, I always felt so much taller. He called me his little Gunga Din. And, that was one of the nicer compliments I've had. He challenged us, he challenged a president to stop a war. And he challenged us to answer the question, can we save the world? So I'd like to introduce you to 2 people. Sharon Anderson, who's behind the camera. Last year she was so humble and patient, she didn't get a copy of this book. So I'd like you to come up and take a bow, my dear. I know she was going to give a speech, but she gave a standing ovation speech last year. 2 minutes, people were standing up, and you saw just an excerpt of that. So as she goes off to Suffolk, I wanted to just wish her well and have all of you know that she was a founding member as 3 years ago. So she's changed her life a lot. And next we have the incredible privilege of meeting our young person, Mary Olin, who you heard give this introduction from Bob. And last year, Mary, was kind of inspired, thinking, maybe I'd like to be in political science, and maybe I'd like to be a lawyer. Elizabeth Warren came to Martha's Vineyard for an event, and Mary said, I'll volunteer. We have all kinds of opportunities. Oh my God, next week we're just loaded. There's so much going on. People just call us up and say, would your kids like to go? So Mary signed up, and we have Take Your Breath Away photo with Mary and Elizabeth Warren. And then for Job Shadow Day, Mary was matched with Elizabeth Warren's offices in Boston. And then in April, she was in Washington, D.C. She calls me up, she goes, I got to talk to Elizabeth Warren. I said, really? With like 1,000 people. Oh no, just she and I were just talking. I was just telling her. I was like, okay. So now Mary's goal, her dream, is to be at least a U.S. Senator. So, Mary. And she has a vision, so she's going to share it with you. Okay. And this is her physical therapist, campaign manager helping. Izzy is her visioneer. We have MBYLI visioneers, so the two of them are the champions for the coming year.
Good evening, and thank you all for coming. I'm Mary Olin, and I'm going to be a senior at the Martha's Vineyard Regional High School. And I've been involved in the Martha's Vineyard Youth Leadership Initiative, or MBYLI, for 2 years. Walter Cronkite described Earth Day in 1970 as a day dedicated to enlisting all the citizens of a bountiful country in a common cause of saving life from the deadly byproducts of that bounty, the fouled skies, the filthy waters, and the littered earth. Students that participate in MBYLI share some of the same mentalities as the citizens who participated in Earth Day in 1970. At MBYLI, we dedicate ourselves to leaving our island in better shape than we found it. We do this by learning about sustainable practices taking place on the island and see some of those practices firsthand when we take a sustainable tour of the vineyard. As you can see to my left, we've created a map of sustainable development on Martha's Vineyard. This map is a continuation of a project that was started in the MBYLI Summit in 2010, updated in 2011, and further updated in 2013. The map is a visual tool that can be used to highlight many of the amazing sustainable locations on the vineyard. The map started out as a two-dimensional, but this year, with the help of Chris Seidel from the Martha's Vineyard Commission, the map was made three-dimensional in Google Earth and will be available online to anyone with internet access. It was important to us that this map would be easily accessible because we want to educate as many people as possible on just how sustainable the vineyard is and to encourage people to support that sustainability. Our map not only features green energies such as wind and solar, it features culturally sustainable sites. The Wampanoag tribe of Martha's Vineyard has long-standing traditions that deserve to be preserved. On our sustainable tour, we had a chance to visit Orange Peel Bakery in Aquina, which hosts community pizza nights, bringing together members of the tribe, as well as folks who aren't Wampanoag. Places like the Orange Peel Bakery are important to preserve and support because they represent the vineyard way of life. The map also features many of the island's 41 farms. On the tour, MBYLI youth visited one of Martha's Vineyard's newest farms, Thimble Farm. At Thimble Farm, they shared with us their dream of getting more local food into our high school, and anyone that eats the lunch at MBRHS knows that this would be a welcome change from our usual frozen burgers. We also felt it was important to promote ecotourism sites and hopefully encourage visitors to see all of the island's sustainable options. One of the sites on the map is the Native Earth Teaching Farm, which is a local farm willing to teach anyone interested about the sustainable practices of farming. Native Earth is one of the many sustainable sites on the vineyard that is open to the public and eager to talk about the importance of sustainability. I want to leave you with some facts that were presented by Emma Hall-Spilsback at the Walter Cronkite Awards 2 years ago. Even though Martha's Vineyard has 41 farms, we only consume about 5% local food. The cost of living here is 60% higher than the national average, and the island's energy costs are among the highest in the country. That being said, we have the chance to change Martha's Vineyard's sustainability by buying local, supporting local business owners, using renewable energy, and promoting local heritage and culture. We all have the responsibility, not only as islanders, but as humans, to save and protect our world and our island. Thank you.
So in closing, I'd like you to meet all of these special young people. So Savannah, you want to come, and Charlie, and Lucas, and Isabel, and come on up. I'm going to take a photo. There's many more. Yes, Shab, come on. Yeah, there you go. So, as they come up, Isabel Smith just fell in love with Camp Jabberwocky and you can't get her away. She's just been helping out in so many ways. Charlotte McCarran. Lucas Samarins, Mary Olin, Isabel Wadley, Oshante Wade, Savannah Brown, Lucy Doherty, Marceli Alves, Tanara, Charlie Pecor, and Sharon Anderson. There you go. So if you're on our guest, if you sign up and you give us your email, you'll keep hearing about these guys and all the great things that they're doing because they have a lot to say. And the president of our board, Marcia Jews, has been working with them during the summit to share with you about their ideas and dreams. So at the reception, they're the special treat. So you get to hang out and get to know them as well as, of course, Bob and Liz. We'll celebrate with them. So thank you all. Join us at the Harbor View.
Story to end before we go eat. My teacher told a story about a guy who had a painting of a sunset. The painting is mostly dark, depressing, gray. But in the right-hand corner of the painting, there is a swath of magenta that is so gorgeous. You know how if you take a walk at Gayhead at 4 o'clock in the afternoon in the winter, there is this magnificent pink. The guy brings the painting to a framer. He goes back 2 weeks later, and the framer says, you know, I didn't have a frame big enough for that painting, so I had to fold over that pink thing. What our recipients have done is they have made a larger frame so that we can see the pink thing and the dark. Thank you.